Welcome, everyone, to the Up on the Soapbox podcast. This is episode 28. We got a great guest with us today, as always. It's beautiful here in the Carolinas, and there's no place I'd rather be than inside on a podcast. Dan, how about you?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'm psyched to talk with Brian here because he's a great young guy with a lot of energy and brings a lot to the table. So I'm looking forward to the conversation.
I think we might be able to take away a few things from our guest today, especially in the podcast world. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what the takeaways I'm looking for. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Brian Young. He's with the Dustan Group right here in the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. He's the director of business and a co-host of the BrandBuilders podcast, which is now well over 200 episodes going strong once a week. Brian, welcome to the podcast. Let's hear a little bit about yourself, and then we can talk a little bit about your podcast as well.
Thank you, guys. I'm honored to be here. Very appreciative of the opportunity. Thankful to be, a member of the Soapbox group and everything that you guys have been able to create. It's been fantastic. So to tell you a little bit about the Dustan Group, we've been in business for 14 years. Scott Dustan started our business and had been in the industry for a couple of years before that. And I think his approach has been the same for the last 14 years. It's take care of the people, that honor you with the business, but ultimately do the right thing, be involved in your community, really just be a good person. And that's how we've really driven and grown our business. A lot of the stuff in the custom world, I think people get excited about the wins and excited about the projects that go well, but I think you really gain trust from a client on how you react when things go wrong. And we're in such a unique industry where things go wrong. And if you've been in it the last 3 years, pretty much everything that could go wrong probably has in some, capacity. And so for us, we back 100% of our products. So it's very important for us to partner with manufacturers, with suppliers that have the same, type of vibe, right? Like when we have an issue, we need a supplier that takes care of us. And that's really how the Soapbox has been great for us to be able to meet new people, but ultimately, have decision makers that can help us out. And because when we say we're going to do something, we do it. And so that's really a little bit about our business. We're all about the brands that we work with. We're honored and blessed to be able to work with a lot of nonprofits in our city as well. And really the theory of giving back has been something we've done for a very long time. And in our space, we have such a unique medium that we don't have to be the person that's writing the check to a nonprofit, but we can connect the dots through, organizations or corporations that we work with that are maybe looking for a local nonprofit to connect with. And that's really where I feel that this industry has not only, made me who I am, but it has really given me a purpose in life. And the last 6 years of being in this industry have literally been the best 6 years of my life.
What was so appealing about the industry? How'd you find it? How'd you move into it? It's always an interesting story.
Yeah, so I was blessed to play college soccer, and I played at Georgia Southern, and we're Division I, and we were in the Southern Conference. And I remember growing up, I had to take care of all my stuff, right? I wasn't getting new gear, like I had to wash it, clean it, and everything. And when I got to Georgia Southern, it was literally just a free for all. I got anything that I wanted. I got Nike goalie gloves, I got cleats, I got shoes. And I was just like, this is swag. Like, this is awesome. It all had my gear on it. I don't think there was a day that went by that I didn't wear something that said Georgia Southern Soccer. Maybe because I got a lot of reaction. I thought I was cool. I don't know what it was, but for me, I felt like I was a part of something, and I was very passionate about that. And I've always been very creative. I've always loved marketing. I've always loved really logos in general. The big NASCAR guy. That's actually what I thought I was going to do in life. I was a sports management major, moved to Charlotte, thought I would work in NASCAR. I was just appealed to, looking at a NASCAR and saying there's 1,000 different companies on this car. Like, how much money is this car making, right? Like, these people are paying to have their logo on there, and I didn't know why, right? I wanted to figure that out. Well, it was a long journey, but I met Scott Dustan during CrossFit. One of the best men I've ever met in my life. He's the best person I've ever worked for in my life, and was a friend first and asked me to be in the industry, and it wasn't the right time. And then 2 years later, he asked me again. We randomly ran into each other at a brewery, and that was 2015, and the rest is history.
Wow. Well, how do you, so you mentioned college athletics. What did you take from the experience? Forget the swag for just a second, but I mean, the teamwork and the camaraderie and the other things that go along in the discipline and training or what, any aspect. How does it relate over to the business world for you? Or do you take lessons from that into your business world?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, A lot of case studies have been put out there for, NFL players or professional athletes that maybe they don't make it. Maybe they're only in there a couple of years, or what are they going to do after that, right? I think athletes struggle with just the sheer emotion, the drive, like what you get out of competing, what you get out of winning, what you get out of that just type of moment. And it's very difficult to transition that into something else. For me, I've always loved sports because I think it's the realest thing out there. If you want reality TV, watch a game. You don't know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. And I love that. And I think a lot of athletes struggle to transition that into business. For me, we were not that good at Georgia Southern when I got there. And we learned a lot by failing. And for me, there was a lot of stuff growing up in my life that I was told I was too short. I wasn't fast enough. I was a goalkeeper. I'm 5'10", right? Not many goalkeepers are 5'10" in Division I college soccer. And so I was told from the age of 10 years old that I was too small. And so I used that drive forever to really push myself to be able to achieve that and go and play at that level. So for me, I was so excited to be there, but then I learned what it was really like to fail. I learned what it was like to be committed to something that was literally a 24-hour job. And I think that's really what propelled me to be successful in business. It was a hard transition, but ultimately every day for me is a new match, is a new game, is a new opportunity. And I just challenged myself to get as excited about business as I did with sports. And I think if people can do that, and you can find an ex-athlete and you can transition that passion into business, they'll be your best hire you've ever had.
Suffice to say, you're excited about the new MLS team coming to town?
I'm thrilled. I have season tickets. I'm a PSL owner. We've been blessed to do a lot of business, with Charlotte FC, with the Carolina Panthers, with Tepper Sports in general. So we've gotten a great behind the scenes look, whether that's working with their equipment team, their marketing team. And I'm beyond thrilled. I was at the stadium yesterday. So our season's coming up. I think right now they've sold 65,000 tickets to the first game. Wow. When I grew up playing soccer, it wasn't popular. It was never going to be popular in America. And there are still haters out there, which that's completely fine. There's no reason to even arguing anymore. Soccer is here and it's becoming a more and more popular sport every single day. And for me in Charlotte, I'm excited because it's going to bring the true demographics of this city out. I think there's a lot of people in this city that don't understand really different cultures and how many different nationalities we have in this city. And with soccer or football being the global game and the beautiful game, it's going to be something that's totally different. And I challenge everybody, if you're in Charlotte or you're in any city, go to an MLS game, check it out. You will love it.
I had the privilege of working the Mexico versus Ecuador, I think it was, game a couple months back. I was working selling concessions for my son's band here in Clover, and we have a lot of people with differing ethnicities in the area. You don't always see it consolidated into one area, but you have a game like that, and you're like, where did everybody come from? It was incredible. What a great mix.
I have one more soccer question. Yeah. The men's national team, are they close to making noise? Are they getting there? Where are we? Because you're the expert, not me.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call myself an expert. I think this is the question that everybody is asking. Personally, you look at the growth of our athletes, where they're playing, the teams that they're playing on. There were a lot of pioneers that really took the American idea of they're not going to be good at soccer and challenged that and went over to Europe at a young age. And I'm talking, all the way back to the Casey Kellers of the days, obviously the Clint Dempseys, but those players really created the path for a Christian Pulisic to get to go play and then play at some of the best, clubs in the world. And if you look at our team and where these players are, the Bayern Munichs, the Juventus, the Chelseas, the Man Cities, like they're playing on the best clubs in the entire world. So does that automatically translate into a national team being great? No, but I think we're right there. I think there's a lot of great opportunity. And I really hope that our national team continues to go in the right direction. Right now, it's simple. Qualify for the World Cup. Doesn't matter how it looks. Doesn't matter what happens. CONCACAF qualifying is a lot different than playing in the World Cup. You can't compare going and playing in Costa Rica to playing the Netherlands on their field. It's a different environment. So the reality of CONCACAF, just survive, get through, make it to the World Cup. If that happens, everything will be great. But the direction of the sport, the popularity of the sport, and the opportunities for young Americans at the highest level has never been, this big ever.
It's great. I think it's great. Let's shift gears, come back to the industry
Yes.
a little bit. You're a younger generation than me, younger generation than Brett. We'll talk a little bit about sort of the future of the industry and maybe what the industry you wish could do better. So my question, first question is, does it matter what the industry's called? I keep hearing conversations about, now it's branded merch, and it was promotional products before that, or swag. Where do you fall in? Is that an irrelevant topic, or is it something that has a little bit of meaning for you?
I think that's a tough question. I mean, we call ourselves a branded merchandise and apparel, distributor, but I even think the word distributor doesn't necessarily, articulate everything that we do. I don't think the name of the industry is as important as the people in it and the direction that we're going. Personally, I don't care what you call it, whether you call it swag or merch or whatever you want to call it. But I think we need to be able to continue to grow the industry and challenge people to realize what a great opportunity we have. If you look at the industry as a whole, I don't know, 25 billion or whatever the number is, that could be double that, right? And the reality is it's more about being a marketing company that incorporates our medium into a logistical, conversation of what are they trying to achieve, right? We reverse engineer everything in our company, and it's not about let's throw your logo on something. I want to ask you, what are we trying to achieve by putting your logo on something? How can we tell a story, and what's the product that's going to work to achieve that outcome? You'd be shocked at how many companies sit down and they've never been asked that question. Because our industry is known as being order takers. Our industry is known as being, well, I can do it 10 cents cheaper. Well, those days are over. And COVID now has, in my opinion, really given us an opportunity to cleanse the industry and go more quality over quantity, really challenge your clients on what they can do with their brand. Because if you're just an order taker, then nothing keeps them from buying from you, right? They'll just go anywhere that they want. But if you challenge them on something, if you come up with a unique idea, if you bring a new, item to the table, or a new way to decorate, or a new way to share a story that really works, they'll be your client forever. And I think that's the neat thing about our industry and the direction that it's going. It's more of true marketing companies that are running a parallel path to create the best outcome and challenging them throughout, whether that's hard goods apparel, whether that's giveaways, whether that's client gifting, you name it. All of that up and down the board really needs to take a custom approach to each of those.
Well, and it has to be that way, because you've got the 4 imprints of the world out there that kind of have that, I just need 600 blue pens thing covered, right? I mean, and so you've got to bring value added, which is exactly what you're explaining right there. What do you think our industry could do better to attract the younger generation? Or are there people under 25 years old that even know what the promotional products industry is? Do you have any thoughts about that? How to kind of legitimize what we do for the younger crowd?
Yep. So we just hired one that's 23 years old. So there's one out there that's
okay.
I think more and more people that are younger generations understand more about personal branding and the importance of it than ever before. And what I mean by personal branding, you look at influencers, you look at YouTube, the amount of money that some of these young people have been able to create and the following they've been able to create. All of that has really been created by personal branding. 10, 20 years ago, you would have made it if you were sponsored by Nike, if you were sponsored by Adidas. Now, nobody wants to wear those brands anymore. They want to wear their own brand. They want to create their own private label. They want to be able to create a new revenue stream while ultimately promoting their own personal brand. And I think that's becoming more and more important. But also our industry has now challenged itself to be able to bring that at the lower level, if that makes sense. I think the biggest thing that our companies need to do is be less reactive, be more proactive. And when you're going out and having conversations with companies, you need to be hiring younger people. You need to have people that understand social media, that want to understand what trends are. If you have people that are 22 years old and they tell you it's cool, then guess what? All those people that those companies are trying to find are going to think that's cool too. The hardest area right now to recruit is between 20 years old and 30 years old. The only way that you're going to differentiate is by creating a brand that people want to be a part of. And it's not necessarily only our medium, but our medium is something that can show you how cool your brand is. So I think it's a tough conversation, but if you're a company that's not challenging yourself to get younger, to bring in new people that have better ideas, that have unique ways of thinking, like right now, the kids have grown up with the internet. They know more about it than we do, right? That's you got to be bringing these young people in. I think that's happening. I mean, go to PPAI and look at the people that were there. It's changing and it's becoming younger companies that are cooler, that have cool locations, that are being creative. And 9 times out of 10, the buyers that you're working with are going to be 27 to 35 years old, right? And
so
if that age group are younger,
yeah,
that's
I'm
going
sorry,
to
I'm sorry to step on you there, but I have a masterful segue here that I wanted to get out. So I'm really interested in this. But anyway, you were talking about showing your brand. Was that the purpose of the Brand Builders podcast?
It wasn't. I'll give a shout out to Kirby Hasseman and Bill Petrie. Back in 2017, we were at PPAI, an educational class. I don't know how many people go there and take the classes, but you should. I sat down, and in the last 10 minutes of this social media class, they challenged everybody in the room to start a podcast. And I thought it was really cool. Everybody else in the room kind of shrugged it off. And I walked up and talked to them, and we brought that back to our marketing team. And really the reason it created was we work with a lot of nonprofits in this area, specifically in the cancer community world. And we had a conversation in our showroom with a great friend of ours, Josh Jones. And we just thought, man, if we recorded that, that could have helped somebody, that could have made a connection, that could have raised more awareness. And that really was the start of it. So August 25th of 2017, we actually interviewed that exact same person, Josh Jones, as our first episode, and challenged ourselves to come up with a new podcast episode every single Friday. And I'm proud to say, as of today, we've launched 234 episodes in 234 weeks. We've won multiple PPAI awards. We've won multiple national awards. We've been awarded Best Local Podcast multiple times in Charlotte. We've been in multiple different publications. And all of that has been driven by telling the amazing stories of this city and making it not about us at all. The only thing you'll hear about on our podcast is that it's powered by the Dustan Group, but this is really about the brands we represent, sharing those stories, being a true connector. And me and Scott talk about this a lot. I've had the opportunity to have conversations with a lot of people that are different than me. Straight up, me and Scott are 2 white men, right? The reality is there's a lot of people out there that have different walks of life. And to be able to hear their stories, but ultimately hear why they came to that conclusion on how they feel on a certain topic. And I think that's the question that our country and the world needs to ask. Not why somebody believes in what they believe in, but why do they believe in that? How have they come to that conclusion? And I think conversations will lead people to realize that you're a lot more similar than you are not alike. And when you get the opportunity to have an authentic conversation and truly understand that, it will make you a better person. It will make you a better parent. It'll make you a better member of your community. And that's really what has driven us to continue this. The people that come on our podcast are the content. It's not scripted. It's an authentic conversation. And I honestly think it's the best business decision we've ever made. But selfishly, it has really made me who I am. And I'm so blessed to be able to do it. I get shocked that I get paid to do it, to be honest.
Kudos to all. I mean, it's so well done. It's so well polished. You guys do a bang up job on that podcast. It's great. And I happen to be even more interested, not because it just comes from a distributor in an industry, but I live local. And, there's some incredible content that you guys are pushing out there. So congratulations. I don't know how you keep motivated to do that 234 times in a row now. It's incredible.
Yeah, but you're actually showing the way. You're showing the way by, first of all, the consistency, which is remarkable. But the whole concept of it's not a big it's not a big billboard for Dustan Group, right? It's way more than that. And it's really a connective tissue for the community, which involves you with so many different elements of the community, which yes, in turn is going to help your business and all of that. But the beauty of it is that that's not front and center. And what's front and center are the stories of the people you're talking with. It's just really well done. I also want to commend you guys on what you've been doing there.
Yeah, it's been incredible. And like you mentioned, from a business standpoint, for the first 150 episodes, we had plenty of haters, plenty of people that would be in a circle drinking a glass of bourbon and be like, yeah, what's your ROI on your podcast, right? Well, it's not about turning this podcast into money. It's not about getting sponsors to create a new revenue stream. the reality is that podcast keeps our business top of mind every week in a way that's not salesy, in a way that will not have somebody unsubscribe from an email. And so what happens when you're top of mind, your name comes up more in conversation. When the opportunity is right for somebody to buy what we have, or someone in that circle wants to buy something, the Dustan Group is top of mind. And it's how we also sell our product. I tell people all the time, marketing is not about me anymore, right? It's about being subtle. It's about creating something that's a gift. It's about being real. And that's not even just the podcast. It's in general on how you're decorating items, right? There's a lot of things that have done really, or have changed for us throughout this podcast. And I would challenge every single distributor, I don't care where you are, if you're not connecting with your clients on a level where you could have a 30-minute conversation that has nothing to do about your business, then you don't know your client at all. And if you don't know your client at all, then guess what's stopping them from going to somebody else? Nothing. But when you do know them, they have a connection, they feel it, they love you, they're going to continue to buy from you.
Incredible advice. Incredible advice, Brian. I'd love to talk to you all day, but I have an eye on the clock. So I am going to wrap this up. Any parting words, any other words of wisdom, any nuggets?
Yeah.
Just thank you guys so much for what you've been able to create. True pioneers in the industry at a time when we needed something more than ever. Being able to connect with the amazing, suppliers of our world at a high level has been very, very great for our Dustan Group and our business. I can't tell you how many new companies we've been introduced to because of Soapbox. So thank you guys for that. And then just in closing, I think with our industry, I just want to challenge everybody to think what you can do to help your community, think what you can do to help your neighbor. That's what our world needs. It's less about greed. It's more about, supporting your neighbors. I tell people this all the time. If you drive into your neighborhood and you don't know your neighbors' names, then go introduce yourself, right? Like, we need to start there. And I think as a country, if more people worry about their own house and their neighbors and their community, then we'll be a better place. And I think this industry has so many amazing things going for it. It's going to be up to us to really challenge ourselves to be the best. And I'm so proud of the industry as a whole for getting through, or still getting through what we've been going through, but I think it's going to help us out. And like I said, this industry gave me purpose. I love it every day. I'm blessed. I kind of pinch myself that I get to work in this world, and I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
Brian Young, thanks for being with us today. Thank you for being a great ambassador for the Soapbox community. We appreciate everything you're doing, and the love is mutual. So awesome. We enjoy having you here today. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.